Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This week, Immortal Wade asks the gents to pull back the four skeins of time and space to gaze into the undiscovered country. Sticky Bob prophetically predicts dystopian digital slavery and USBBs 1.0. Mellifluent Mark bemoans the complexity of computing and Lord's second life over Jujitsu Zuck's Madverse. From Thunderbation to Frankenstein steaks. Yes, it's time for What I Want. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Distractible. I'm today's host, Wade, and I'm keeping the host today. And as always, I'm joined by my friends Mark and Bob. Hello, guys.
Hello.
I'm waving. That's for the viewers, not for the listeners.
I'm waving too.
That's the people we care about the most, the ones that look at our faces. They're more important.
They are.
If you're new here, we have video. You can watch us on Spotify. You're probably watching us on Spotify. There's also a show where we, one of us hosts talks about whatever we want, assigns points. Whoever has the most points wins, or least. I don't know. It doesn't ever really matter, and it never makes sense, but it's always incredibly fair.
Definitely always fair. You got that right.
Yes.
Very fair.
How are you guys doing? Yeah, you're so great. What's on the left there, Mark? You seem like you're very interested.
What? What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing, just, is it a really good wall?
No, I bet our faces are over there, right? He's got the window open where we can see each other.
Oh, you just can't stop looking into our eyes.
I'm looking right at you.
By your eyes and my forehead.
That's good, just making sure.
I'm doing great. I'm doing excellent. Yeah. I got almost 3 nights of good sleep in a row.
Wow.
It's a new record.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The little man, the baby, is doing good. He's a little fussy, but he's sleeping more, it makes me want to cry a little bit with joy. It just couldn't be better.
Is this your first proud parenting moment?
I'm not proud, I'm just relieved. And somehow I'm still tired. Even though I got like 8 hours of sleep, I woke up and I'm still just like, what happened? I feel like a man screamed at me all night, even though he didn't.
Muscle memory, your body just feels like it's being screamed at and woken up.
Dude, that's the crazy thing about having a baby, okay? I hear his screaming, like wherever I am. Like right now I'm in a room in our backyard, right? It's like a detached office. I faintly in the back of my hearing and consciousness, I swear to God, I hear him screaming from the other room, right? Because anytime we're all hanging out as a family and I'm like, I'm going to go to the bathroom and I leave the room, he takes that opportunity to be like, it's just me and mom. Time to go fucking crazy, and starts crying and whatever. And I come back and Mandy is like, ah. So every time I'm not in the room with them or wherever he is, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, is that him? Is he crying? Is that crying? And it happens in my dreams and everything. Just everywhere I go now, I'm just like, is that James crying? At the mall? Is James at the mall crying somewhere?
It sounds like you're slipping into just madness. Like your last bit of strings of holding on to reality are slowly being cut.
I mean, from what I've heard, that's a pretty apt description of parenthood, so.
It feels good, guys. You should do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we'll get right on that.
Water's fine. Jump on in. Just a little bit. And it's just in my imagination, really. Or it's not, but you can never tell. You have to check. So that's where I'm at. I'm doing great. Everything's great, guys.
Good.
How about you, Mark?
I have a new company to rant at.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Hold on, let me check sponsor lists. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, yesterday I was angrier than I've been in a very long time because I'm currently in the process of the organization phase of editing the movie. And so to do that, there's a lot of data. Like 90 terabytes worth of data that needs to be handled. And that's a ton of stuff. So I need a very special drive. Well, not a very special drive, but I need a drive that can have a lot of hard drives. It can be an array and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's complex, but there's plenty of solutions out there. So there's this one company called OWC, and the drives that they make are great. They work. I will say that straight up.
They work.
There's nothing wrong with them inherently in terms of how they function, the form, and stuff like that. However, and maybe this is my ignorance, but I got them, and I was able to use my MacBook to be able to transfer files over. It was like the hub for that, because I was preparing things to go towards my main computer, which is a PC, a Windows computer, with a lot more editing horsepower than my MacBook, right? So I got what was called the Thunderbay 8, and I thought originally the problem was that it was the hard drive that I was given was formatted for Mac, right? There's a different file system, and I was like, because when I first plugged those hard drives into my computer, it didn't read, and I'm like, oh, it must be a different file format. I need to get a new one and then put it into exFAT and then copy everything over, right?
Sure.
So I got this thing called the Thunderbay 8, and on the page, I had to double check this after I got off the call with customer service yesterday, because I was like, am I crazy? Am I just stupid in my execution of this? Because I go to the Thunderbay 8 and it says 8-bay Thunderbolt parentheses USB-C storage solution, right?
Okay.
But Thunderbolt is a proprietary Apple connector.
It's a proprietary Intel connector.
Oh, it's an Intel connector.
It's an Intel product.
You must not be a Thunderbaiter.
MacBooks have had Thunderbolt ports previously, right? Macs have had Thunderbolt before.
Yeah, they've had Thunderbolt ports for a while. They tried to make
but
it
now
so
they
the
don't
Mac-
have Intel processors. Oh.
No. They still have Thunderbolt ports. It still
Okay,
worked.
okay.
And to copy 90 terabytes of data takes about a day and a half. Even at RAID speeds in hard drive disks, the array still takes a long time. So I spent the better part of 2 days copying things over, waiting to be able to plug this into my computer to be able to go there. And then lo and behold, the copy is done, and I go and hook it up to my PC, and it doesn't connect still. And I'm losing my mind. For about 5-6 hours yesterday morning, I was just trying on that computer.
That's a lot of wasted Thunderbation.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. And so I plug it into this one, and this was a Threadripper processor. And then I look up, Thunderbolt's Intel. So I was like, oh God, is it only going to work on an Intel processor? So I grab another computer that I have and I plug it in there, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't work. And then I'm like, oh no, this one's a Ryzen. Oh no. And then I realize, I have a Intel computer because Starforge Systems, Critical's company, sent me a computer a while back, which I didn't shout out. That was like half a year ago, and I said I needed to just give some support.
Hey, shout out to you.
Good job, Starforge Systems, or whatever it was.
So I go there and I plug it in that one. I'm like, okay, this is gonna work, and it doesn't connect. And I'm just like, oh my God, no, it doesn't connect. So I call up finally customer service, and the first thing that he says is, all right, first thing off the bat, let's make sure it's not plugged into a USB-C port, because it's just not going to work. And I go, oh no, what? But and he's like, it should be really obvious that this thing is not it's Thunderbolt only. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I must be stupid. I must just be an idiot. But no, if you go to their website, like I read, it says 8-bolt Thunderbolt USB-C storage solution. You scroll down their list, it does say Thunderbolt, but it also says stabilized Thunderbolt and USB-C cables with the added on anti-cable strain device.
Oh yeah, they give you the cables, you just can't use them.
Yes, it's just like there is nothing on this website that says Thunderbolt only. The host port requirements in the technical detail says Thunderbolt parentheses USB-C port. That's what it says. It says Thunderbolt USB-C port. That's what it says. And then this guy,
It's just telling you, Mark, that it's the same shape. Because a Thunderbolt port and a USB-C, they look the same. And they're just like, it's that one, but it's got the little lightning symbol next to it for Thunderbolt.
It sure do. And this is where I discovered that I was like, okay, maybe I can get a computer, like a PCI Express adapter to be able to get a Thunderport. But if your motherboard isn't built with Thunderport headers in it, you literally cannot put a Thunderbolt connector to your computer in any way, shape, or form. And I blame myself partially for the ignorance of the, difference. Like, I knew there was a difference between Thunderbolt and USB-C, but if you look online, there's many things that say, like, yeah, usually Thunderbolt and USB-C things can interconnect. It's just USB-C will be slightly slower.
Yeah, you don't get the same bandwidth. or whatever.
But it's still 20 gigabits a second. It's still high bandwidth. It's just that this specific hard drive from this specific company will not work if it's not Thunderbolt, period. And I bought 3 of these.
Oh, so they were cheap. That's what you're saying. This is some kind of cheap, duct taped together knockoff brand of product, and they're not at all outrageously expensive or something like that. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, they were only $5,279 a piece. So
That's a car.
Well, you better get some computers with Thunderbolt ports on them. Shit.
yeah, I better. So I'm heartbroken, and I get it. This is not entirely OWC's fault. I think they should remove some of the USB-C language, but I didn't even know in the first place. But it's just like, I'm mad and I need to lash out.
Take that, Thunderbaiters.
And you talked to them, and after you figured out all of this stuff, you were like, well, obviously I need to return these. And the guy was like, ooh, once you accept delivery, they're yours forever. Sorry.
I picture this guy sitting in a dark room. It's like one light in there. He's holding a cigar. The phone rings like 3 times. He picks it up and he's like, before we get started. Actually, I've got a prop here. Before we get started, USB-C won't work. But I click.
That's basically how the call went.
That's his whole job.
I know that must be a common call because he said that before anything. He literally...
Not even hello, what's your name? It's before we get started.
No, he was like, what's your problem? And I told him like it wasn't connecting. He was like, oh, all right, first things first, USB-C won't fly. I'm just like, what?
You make like the saddest noise, like, bah! And he just hangs up the phone, takes another puff, picks up his bourbon, another one down.
You heard it here first. Mark is editing an entire movie on a MacBook Pro, everybody. That's what's happening.
Honestly, I was debating it, just being like, I'll just do it here. But
I mean, you could get like a dock and a Magic Keyboard and one of those 4K Apple displays. Those are pretty good.
Those are only $6,000.
3 times as much as they should cost, and or more than that. But they're good, so
yeah,
worth it or whatever because it's got Apple on it.
The only saving grace is that like the enclosure has the hard drives in them, and the hard drives can be moved over to something else. So I got another 8-bay dock. So I'm just gonna take the hard drives out and hope that the RAID array stays in place if I insert them in the same place.
You just end up with 90 terabytes of de-addressed data across the hard drives. You plug them in and they're all just like, oh, what is this? Film footage? Movie camera stuff? Oh boy. We're going to lose some of these pixels, tell you what.
From what I've heard, you can take a RAID array from something else because the RAID array is built into the hard drives itself and also what it's plugged into. But it's just like it was extremely heartbreaking. I have to deal with some returns, and these were not... I was going to have these flown to like my editors. Oh, God.
Well, you could still do that. Just buy 3 more.
Yep.
In my brain, I don't know what I thought film was like recorded. I guess I pictured the big, giant, fancy like movie cameras having a long cable that somehow connect to another building next door that has just like stacks of storage, and the editors have to cram into there to make the movie right next door. That's how it always worked in my brain, I guess.
That's just how Hollywood does it. Union rules,
Yeah, union rules. You gotta build a separate bunker just for the data.
And upstairs, there's a guy with like a glass of bourbon and one light in a dark room holding a cigar like, that's right, keep editing and no USB-C.
Why does everyone have a cigar?
I should get a prop that I keep near my desk that I just continuously make excuses to
I gotta
whip out.
make it worth the business expense. I spent like $3 on this.
This is a $2 joke cigar. I gotta put it to work.
I've not had a reason to use it for a while, and if I don't put it in my mouth long enough, the saliva really gets gross.
All right, that's horrifying.
Thank you.
It's like a child's toy that never gets washed.
It's real fancy though. I've my own personal cigar prop napkin that it sits on, and I change it out every once in a while.
You're like Chica, because if we ever wash her toys, she has to re-saliva them back up. She's like, oh, this isn't right.
Yeah, Lexi's the same way. We wash her bed sometimes, and every time we wash anything that she lays on, she has to like wipe her butthole on it and stuff and get it all stanked up again.
Of course, as you do.
I do the same thing when Molly cleans sheets. I'm like, oh,
yeah. Whenever we change the sheets on the bed, I climb up on there, no boxers, and I just scratch around a little bit so I can get all, get my musk on there.
just rub all around.
How am I going to get pink eye if I don't do that?
It's true. You did once give our entire recording, our tour group, pink eye.
Listen, I gave one person pink eye. And it's because I had pink eye, not because I wiped my butthole on anything.
Well, so you claim.
I don't know how I got it, and we're not going to get into that. But I gave it to other people through the eye area, not through any other areas.
I know how you didn't give it to them. USB-C.
Thanks.
Is that funny?
Thanks.
Funny?
Dark room, trench coat, cigar guy.
That does bring me to, we've had a good discussion here, and it brings me to today's topic, Mark, and your struggles. So thank you for that beautiful setup.
Uh-huh.
Today, we're going to talk about our wish list for the future. Things that we want to see, and I've got it broken down kind of by topic. I'll group this in with we'll just talk about game technology, but to start off with, but that can include like filming and stuff. That's kind of like what we do. Just talking about realistic life, right? We're not just gonna name things that are like impossible, but realistically things that like we could see happening or that we want to be developed. I think we have a good idea of things that we'd like to see. So starting with film and game technology, what are some things you'd like to see changed or improved upon? Would you like a OWC to work with USB-C?
Wait, so hold on.
Is that a gaming technology?
Well, I'm grouping the two together for the sake of the conversation.
So is it game technology or games themselves? Or
honestly, either one. It's relatively vague. Mainly, I just want to talk about things that we want to see changed in the future. I just kind of got a list of topics in case we like hit a bump in things to talk about, but we can really talk about whatever we want with it.
You said realistic, but how far into the future can I reach, and how much can I extrapolate?
Let's say within like the next 100 years.
Okay.
That's pretty open, I think.
Is that how long we're gonna live? Is that your estimation?
Well, I'm gonna live forever.
Oh.
I'm a main character, so I'm okay. Until they decide to retire me like Ash Ketchum and I just get put on the shelf.
But you don't die, you're just stored away.
Yeah.
That kind of disqualifies what my answer is then. But I had one immediately come to mind for this.
It's a loose topic, so go for it.
I want the technology without the dystopia, but that's not how it works, so I'll take both. I want the Ready Player One game-averse, the metaverse, if you will, from Ready Player One to be more real.
I've never seen Ready Player One.
Okay, so it's a futuristic thing where basically the world takes place in a digital metaverse type thing where you pop on, but it's not just like you have a controller or a mouse and keyboard or something.
So like the Matrix?
It's like a VR headset type thing, but you also have a full haptic suit. So you're like running, you're feeling, stuff hits you, there's like impacts. It's full haptic feedback, haptic input, full suit. And this is the world in which people work, right? The dystopian part is there's a company called IOI, and they are the Facebook or Meta of the world because they like kind of own the universe. And they basically turn people into indentured servants by crushing them with debt and then putting them in like debtor's prison until they work off their debt. And it's like impossible to successfully work off your debt. That's the dystopian part. But we're kind of already there. But at least in that world, you're doing it in a digital world. You're working inside the game, and then you get out of that, and then you're just in prison. Which now that I'm saying it out loud does sound pretty bad. But the world is essentially like a fully immersive real world where you can have a job, you can earn money, you have an avatar, there are references to pop culture. I want a game world that's kind of like that, and I feel like we're heading in that direction. But from what I've seen from the metaverse, I got low hopes for that one, the real world metaverse in our world. We'll see where that goes, but that seems cool. Like, it seems fun to just have, it's like what Second Life was in the early 2000s, except way, way more of a realistic and fun and immersive experience.
So funny that you mentioned that because Amy and I, we just watched like this video essay that was talking about Decentraland. Have you heard of Decentraland?
I have heard of it, and I honestly can't remember a single piece of information about it, but like I've heard that name
I
or
have
whatever. Yeah.
So Decentraland was created at the very beginning hype of the cryptocurrency, decentralization, like all the key buzzwords that you would hear out of the crypto world, to be like, you can own virtual land, be the first to have your own virtual land that's integrated into the blockchain. It's when you go into this, the experience is so garbage. It's so much worse than Roblox, like any of these other online games. And what you do, and it's funny you mentioned Second Life. Second Life is a surprisingly robust and well-integrated online community that has so much more actual real-world value than Decentraland ever could. And it's so funny because those online games like World of Warcraft and any MMO, they actually do have a translatable real world value for their currency. Even World of Warcraft has integrated into their game a way for you to pay for gold because gold farmers were such a problem.
With crypto? On
No,
the blockchain,
not with
bro?
crypto. No, unfortunately, it's not on the blockchain.
If it's not on the blockchain, then I don't
It's
know.
just such a comically bad experience. It is so shittily programmed. It's so terribly integrated. And they actually scrapped their VR plans because the game developers couldn't do it. They just weren't good enough. And so you have this world where that's where the metaverse people who are at least incorporated into the crypto world want to take the metaverse. But even Facebook's own metaverse is still a inferior version of Second Life. It's hilarious to see where things kind of go backwards when people don't actually care about the world that they're building, or the people in the world don't care about improving the world that they're building. You know, it's just such a fascinating thing. So I don't know if that'll ever happen, especially in the way that like Facebook or Meta, I guess, now wants to take it with their stuff. I love the Oculus. Well, I guess it's called the Meta Quest now.
The Meta Quest 2?
I actually really like that as a VR headset, but not for the purposes of getting in the metaverse. I like it for its gaming ability because I get motion sickness pretty badly, but the newest one actually helps it because it tracks your eyes, like where your eyes are looking. So it's helped a lot.
I've not tried it yet. I didn't know that it was better because I used to get motion sick with the old one, but I've had one for like 2 years just sitting here in a box.
In a box wrapped in plastic, sitting on the floor of your office, covered in banana peels.
Interesting.
I can't believe it.
It's out of the box. It's just in this box.
You put it in its case and then never opened it again?
No, that's the Quest 2. I'm talking about the Quest Pro.
No, yeah, I realized
newer?
mid talk you were talking about the Pro. Yes, the Pro is better and newer. And
Oh, so this thing's out of date. Good. I'll get rid of it.
that's
Get a new
garbage.
Yeah.
You might as well
Yeah.
just throw that in the toilet and flush it down.
one. Outdated.
And then what was it? HTC, they released their like Quest Pro competitor. I heard that was also
their
pretty
really
good.
lightweight headset thing that looks like a big pair of glasses. Sort of. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, no. Well, see, that's the thing. Technologically, I feel like we are, like you're saying, we are heading in a direction where VR and AR headsets are already at a place where the HTC one, I saw a demo of a person using it in AR as like a work productivity thing, where it's like you're at a desk, but the desk is empty, but you can have as many monitors as you want, right? You can have custom sized monitors and scaled and positioned and all this stuff. And you have like an AR workspace where it's just a desk, but you can have the exact right customization of your workspace, what's available, what things like that looks super cool. And the lightweight nature of the tech is getting to the point where, yeah, I could see a future where we have the sort of technology that Ready Player One has. But if I have to be realistic, you're also dead accurate that I have no faith that a company with the resources to create a universe like the one I'm dreaming about would do it in a way that would be good. And I have even less faith that any users who would get on there, would use it in good faith. Like, people would just want to break it. They'd want to game the system. They'd want to hack it or gamify it and try and make, video games are just made to be abused, right? So no one would approach it in a way where it's like, let's enjoy this world and build it. And what people would just be like, let's fuck this up. Let's hack it. Let's extract money from this, whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, people are going to ruin it, and it's going to be ruined before it even happens because it's made by a company. So, no, I don't think that's ever going to exist. But it could in my dreams. Maybe.
It could.
It could.
Yeah.
All right, so crippling debt and being forced into a virtual world.
Debtor's prisons and drones with facial recognition that hunt you down to put you in debtor's prison. That's my dream.
Did you see the original developer of the Oculus Rift made a modded version of the headset with like 3 shotgun shells like arranged right here up on your cranium, so that when you die in the game, it'll fire the shotgun shells and kill you.
No.
Oh my god.
It's obviously not for sale, but I think it was made as like a art piece statement thing. But it's just like that's
Jigsaw's VR headset.
yeah. I mean, it's his view of VR and that world being twisted in the way that it has. I think he's kind of jaded a little bit, but it's very funny.
Too real. Sorry.
All right, Mark, do you have any dreams?
What's your dream, Mark?
Dream?
Your technological wish list?
Technological wish list, man. I don't know. Coming off of the AI conversation is like
8 hard drives that can use Thunderbolt and USB-C at the same time.
yeah, no. I want a unified connection system, which is what USB was supposed to be, right? USB is called Universal Serial Bus. It was originally meant to be something that could unify all of these connections, and yet you still have these companies that are like, no, we gotta make a proprietary connector. And then the freaking USB Commission couldn't decide what the hell that the USB Implementers Forum is what it's called. And the nightmare that was USB 3, because there was USB 3, and then there was USB 3.0 Gen 1 or Gen 2, and then there was USB 3.1 Gen 1, which was actually USB 3.0 Gen 2, and then there was USB 3.1 Gen 2, and then USB 3.2 Gen 1, which was 5 gigabits per second, which was no faster than USB 3.0, and then there was USB 3.2 Gen 2, which was 10 gigabits per second, which was actually USB 3.1 Gen 2. It's just like the names just kept getting worse.
You lost me like a third of the way into that.
I understand that technology is complicated, and I also understand that the thing that that USB whatever committee that you said faces is that they have versions of protocols and versions of connectors, right?
Yes.
But whoever comes up with the names over there should have been fired so long ago. Like, Jesus Christ. It's a USB-A female Gen 2. No. USB-A 3 Gen, 3.1 Gen. Oh, wait, it's a B connector. This is a USB-B. A USB-B. Oh, my fucking God. Like, who?
Before we get started, let me say, is this about our naming system? Because if so, nothing to say.
Also, mini USB and micro USB. What the fuck happened? All right. This is not a conversation that I think a large portion of our listeners really care about. But
Everyone relates.
if you want to go down a rabbit hole of someone who sounds a lot like Mark going on a rant about some dumb bullshit, look up a video of like a tech YouTuber, like Linus Tech Tips or somebody, talking about the USB naming conventions and how absolutely confusing and fucked it all is.
Well, at least it's all universal.
Yeah, it is universal. That's true. That's true.
I have the full list of names if you guys want it. There's
Sure.
USB 2.0, and then there's USB 3.2 Gen 1 X1.
What happened to USB 1.0? What, are we just skipping things now?
Yeah, USB 1.0 is whatever. It's back in the day.
Doesn't get to be on the list. It sucks.
Is this about USB 1.0? Because,
We shot that in the backyard 20 years ago.
All right, sorry. USB 2.0, the beginning, obviously.
Yeah, USB 3.2 Gen 1 X1. That is the next step because the old
X1.
names... The old names for USB 3.2 Gen 1 X1 was USB 3.0, and its old name was also USB 3.1 Gen 1. Then there's USB 3.2 Gen 1 X2, which is it's the double of USB 3.2. Then there's USB 3.2 Gen 2 X1, whose old name was USB 3.1 Gen 2, and then there's USB 3.2 Gen 2 X2, and then I thought USB 4 was going to be better. No. It's not. USB 4 Gen 2 X1, USB 4 Gen 2 X2, USB 4 Gen 3 X1, USB 4 Gen 3 X2, USB 4 Gen 4 X1, USB 4 Gen 4 X2, and then USB 4 Gen 4 asymmetric.
What? Whoa, hey. So that's where they fired the guy who was doing all the Gen 2 X's. And the new guy was like, let's go in a different direction, guys.
Yeah.
I've got some thoughts.
Which ones of these work with Thunderbase?
None of them.
None of those
Okay,
are
good.
the
Just want to
ones.
make sure.
It's like not only that, but like naming conventions should be, you have to force everyone to adhere to it, or it's punishable by death. Because when AT&T, when 5G was just starting, and then AT&T came up with this, brilliant idea of 5G experience. Do you guys know about this?
5GE.
5GE, right?
No.
5GE. There was originally LTE yada yadas, and that was a whole nightmare of itself. But 5G, AT&T did not have 5G towers up yet. They did not. Their phones were not 5G capable. There was not anything about that was possible. They came up with this marketing scheme that as soon as people started hearing about 5G, and 5G phones were still a year away, they came up with this brilliant idea that they would relabel their latest version of LTE to call it the 5G experience, so that people could get a glimpse of what 5G is going to be like. And it just threw a fucking wrench in the entire concept of 5G in general, which the commission for 5G was just like, yeah, it's 5G. There's only one convention for it. But then these marketing assholes were just like 5G experience, and it's nothing different from LTE. It was no different, and they got away with it.
Are you having issues with our 5G experience? Because that's a problem then, sorry.
Yeah, Cigar's really getting its mileage today. We
Oh,
all see
yeah.
it. We all appreciate it. That's like Taco Bell saying that they serve grade A-E beef. it's actually grade E beef or whatever. It's, Taco Bell buys cheaper stuff.
EA beef.
But it's the grade A experience level of beef once Taco Bell puts their juice in it or whatever, spices.
I love that for us.
I can't believe that's not illegal.
I know,
That
right?
that seems just like straight up fraud. Like, I get if you want to say, like, in the marketing, if you want to say, like, it's as fast as 5G, kind of, or what, yeah. But calling it 5GE, like the phones said on them in the little firmware in the thing, it would say, you have 5GE service in the little corner. I've seen that. That's just like a scam, because it seems like it's a 5G convention. It's a misnomer that would be like if you called something USB-C, but it was actually a regular USB type A plug or something. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not the same thing at all.
Well, it's a USB-LC, because it's like C.
USB-CE. It's the experience.
Yeah, USB. Yeah, so in the future, companies must adhere to one naming convention they have to pick. They all have to agree on one, and it's just the one.
And if you disagree, you get sent to the guy with a cigar for beatings.
Create an independent city-state like the Vatican. And the people that live there, all they do is live and breathe naming conventions, and they have ultimate authority to enforce it. They have their own gulag and torture chambers. A whole 9 yards. I'm with you, Mark.
Yep.
You go to naming convention church where they'll like bless your name. They're like, I want to call this USBD. And they're like, I'm sorry, my son. No. Slap. And you leave.
It wouldn't be church though, would it? It'd be NameCon. You gotta go to NameCon if you want to get a
NameCon.
if you want to get a naming con, because they're nerds.
All right. Well, Bob wants eternal prison in VR. Mark wants just good names.
Mm-hmm.
Very reasonable things to wish for. We have high goals.
I think within the next 100 years that's doable. Well, I don't think it'll happen, but could it? Yes.
It could happen today.
Naming things properly could very easily happen, but we have to lie for profit. Yay.
Hooray!
This might be a bit happier. What about technological advancements with food?
I want it to continue to remain to be edible.
That's good. I like meat a lot. I can't live without meat, but I've admitted I'm a hypocrite and I could never kill something to eat it. So to have, like, tofu doesn't quite do it for me, but if we could have something that fully simulated the feeling and taste of meat without me having to, like, eat an animal, I would love that. If I could have a steak without having to have a dead cow, that would make me happy.
Yeah, there's some pretty good technological advancements in terms of lab-grown meat. And I know that as a name, like, doesn't speak a lot towards it. So let's get the meat experience,
Weird side tangent on that. There's a huge, like, I don't know, there's like a big snobby thing about like lab created diamonds versus like naturally found diamonds. I imagine it'll be the same thing with food where it's like, oh, this is one of the best steaks I've ever had. Yes, it's lab created. Lab created. Now it doesn't taste as good.
Just like with diamonds, food is only good if someone or something suffered or died so you could eat it.
I'm glad this was a happier topic.
Real diamonds are chemically or whatever, physically not really different or distinguishable from lab-made diamonds. In fact, lab-made diamonds may be even more pure because it's a controlled thing. But no one had to work in those mines. There's no blood washed off those diamonds as they come through customs.
If you're calling about the lab created, I'm gonna have to let you go.
No, that one doesn't play. That's too far.
Yeah,
that one doesn't work. Calm it. Wait for a real opportunity. Don't shoehorn it in.
I have to. It's too funny to me, even if it's not funny.
But I mean, there is something about that is like, yeah, people in most experiences, like there have to be like something that can tie it to a story. It's like almost if you could just conjure diamonds in your hand, it would probably be the same thing as lab grown thing, because pretty much that's what they do. They're gonna, here's a diamond. It's not that hard. For some reason, people would be like, ugh. But with lab grown meat, I think that there's a lot of people like you and myself included that would be like, yeah, if it's just as nutritionally dense, probably more so if it has a better amino acid profile than like actual meat and it still tastes good. Like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't? Because in the long run, much like lab grown diamonds, it'd probably be cheaper and it would be more sustainable. And it would have less side effects on various different environmental factors, like animal care factors and stuff like that. It would have a lot of pluses to it, but there would still be people that would be like, yeah, but it's nothing like taking a chainsaw to old Bessie out behind the barn.
And we can call it something like 100% real meat, NR, where NR stands for not really. It's real.
I think in the future, the preferred term will be non-conscious flesh.
Non-conscious flesh.
Can I get the non-conscious flesh mignon?
Then you get a gross and hard to stomach thing attached to it. You're like, oh, this is non-conscious flesh. Ooh. I couldn't harvest my own non-conscious flesh, but man, is it delicious. I'll sure eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the thing. It's gross, right? That's why it's cool.
That's why it's cool, I think. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I agree with everything both of you said. I think that would be a cool development. I do think, see, that's the thing too, right? Like I've learned enough about like the treatment of animals in factory farms and like I've learned enough to the point where it's like, man, I wish I could just go vegan, but the interconnectivity of food and memory and like my life to me is rough because there are certain things you can't recreate with just like tofu or tempeh or vegan or vegetarian alternatives where it's like that is a nostalgic thing that I cannot just let go of or get over. It's part of my childhood. It's part of my family connection. And it doesn't make me feel less guilty about it, but it is like if you could get that experience and also it's cruelty free, I would be 100% happy and on board with that. It's just a weird thing. I don't know. Even just saying this, I feel like a hypocrite. I'm sure people out there are like, you just don't have self-control. I'm like, yeah, do you see me? I'm not fat because I have a lot of self-control. Probably the opposite. It's tough. That would be a good technological advance. You kind of took mine. I got to be honest.
You're welcome.
Yeah, wait, you posed the question, then you answered it.
Wade also stole it right out of my mouth because
if you have complaints for the host, let me start with I can't help you.
I had opened my mouth to go like, yeah.
All right, Mark. You go next, buddy. I'm sure you have other food technologies.
I mean, I'm hoping that down the road, you know how in Star Trek they have their little box where you ask for anything and it makes it? I hope that in the future there is like this system, and this is way down the road, not quite let it materializes it in there, but it has like, where you put ink into a printer, but you got like protein, carbs, fats, and it'll go, and it'll print
your protein cartridge.
Yeah, why not? Like, if it could, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
You walk up to the synthesizer and you're like, 1 pepperoni pizza, please. And it prints out a cheese pizza. And then on the little screen, it's like, low on protein. Like, fuck. Damn it.
So you have to like take your USB 523C version 9.15 meat cartridge to plug in there.
Well, that'll be
everything.
Bluetooth 8.6 at that point, so.
Wireless meat cartridge.
Wireless meat? That's the future. Wireless meat. I can't wait.
I'll just transfer you some meat via Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, food synthesizers, that's a good one too. The thing about that is it needs to get to a point where it's not gross. I'm sure that sort of technology could exist relatively soon, but it would just print out like, you know, like horrifying meme versions of food where you'd look at it and just be like, oh, I'll eat something else.
Yeah, I don't imagine it's gonna look very good. And you just get like a printer error, like on a 3D printer, and it just starts spaghettifying and just go, oh no, my food got cancer. God damn it.
Ooh, that's a fun genre. It's like a combination of right now how you could find live streams of 3D printers, and you could also find like cooking show type content. It's a 3D printer cooking show live stream where you're watching it. Half the time it starts off printing something fancy, it's printing a steak, but then it just turns into spaghetti. But if that happens, the machine just changes it over to actually spaghetti. Then it's just half a steak covered in spaghetti, and the machine's like, aha!
It's like a filet base with like spaghetti tendrils coming off that are start off as beef and turn into spaghetti.
Oh god, it's like an alien infested steak with spaghetti things.
I mean, honestly, like, yeah, if that is something that could happen in the future, there would be printer errors, and it's just like, weird random food combinations.
You'd probably discover combinations you'd never think to try that'd be actually really delicious. Like, I never thought about having spaghetti wrapped filet.
I think they call that a carbonara.
Well,
I don't know why, but I thought you were going to add another step to the carbonara thing, but you just...
Isn't that what a carbonara is? Am I crazy?
No,
like,
that's not what a carbonara is.
Steak carbonara. Can't you have a steak carbonara? A meat carbonara?
Look, carbonara is a simple dish where you start with bacon and or pancetta, some kind of smoked pork product, and you cut it into little bits, crisp that up in a pan, and then you add like an egg yolk and a whole shit ton of Parmesan cheese. And that's it. And it's pasta with like a creamy cheese sauce on it.
No, it's got meat.
Yeah, it has little bacon bits in it.
Look, if it's got spaghetti and meat, it's a carbonara.
we are unifying our naming system.
Skyline's three-way carbonara. No, you're what? You're right, Mark. I'm coming around. It's got spaghetti, it's got meat, carbonara.
If there's one country that has really strict food rules, it's Italy. And you know, you got your cannolis, you got your carbonara.
Oh God, not the cannolis,
the two
dude.
main food groups. You got one thing's a cannoli, one thing's a carbonara. That's it.
Dude, my stream chat since that episode's come out has just been, is this insert random bullshit a cannoli? Like every fucking person that comes in, so many new people come in just ask me if bullshit's it's the new bald. Instead of just people coming saying bald, it's now, is fucking my sister a cannoli? It's like, oh, God damn it.
Wait, is that one a cannoli?
Shut up.
No, what? You're telling me you didn't talk that through?
No, I did not talk that through, and I made that one up, I think.
Well, now I'm just curious. Mark, you're the cannoli expert. Is fucking my sister a cannoli? Discuss.
Well, if you think about it, as per our definitions of cannoli, it's something that is wrapped that is not.
She has to bend unnaturally.
Yeah, it has to be wrapped unnaturally, and if there's nothing more unnatural than porking your sister's arm. Therefore, cannoli stand.
Cannoli. Goosh.
I'm glad we've solved this.
Oh wait, I will say, have you guys seen now I can't remember the 4D rule of food or whatever the hell, the cube rule of food? Did you guys see that?
Cube rule of food.
If there's one thing flat, it's like a toast. If you Google it, it's like a picture.
Ah, I see.
Okay.
People continue.
What the fuck just happened?
Hang on, my computer's still on. That's good. This had a lot of liquid in it a minute ago.
Oh no!
Oh God! Oh no!
I think I spilled it around the PlayStation, and it just barely spilled next to, but not onto the computer. I think we're fine.
Before we get started, did you spill liquid on it? Because if you did...
Everyone laughs every time you do it, Wade. Never stop.
They are. The subreddit's going to tell me they are.
So, yeah, the cube rule of food. Yeah, cube rule of food. I've got it right here. They have a lot of the elements that we talked about, right? So we have toast, and that's a very specific thing. We have a sandwich, which is also defined. 3 is a taco. Yeah, that's fair. But 4 being sushi, as we all know, the Japanese stole the concept of sushi from the Italians and their cannolis. Therefore, inherently, all sushi is a cannoli. But what's real sushi is not wrapped at all. It's rice, like fish on rice. The rolls are just how it evolved from cannoliism.
Yeah, no. Isn't the thing that is called nigiri sushi? Isn't that just like rice and fish? And isn't that? I don't know if that's more traditional or what, but maki rolls are the things that are rolled in seaweed or whatever. But sushi is like.
So hold on, is butter toast or is butter a calzone? Butter would be a calzone, right?
Butter? What are you talking about?
Just a nice cube of butter would be a calzone.
How about you get your reading comprehension out of yours and look for identifying dishes based on starch locations?
Oh, starch.
Is butter a starch? Didn't think so.
I don't know, man. I just eat it.
So they got like the bread bowl and the calzone. Like, I think we got all of it except they're wrong about sushi here. This is clearly a cannoli. Number 4 is misnomer.
Yeah, they mislabeled cannoli as sushi. I don't understand what happened.
Wait, if you have a soft shell taco that kind of wraps a little bit, does it become a cannoli?
Depends on how much you wrap it. If you let that top end flop over, if it touches inadvertently, it's suddenly a cannoli, and then you ruined your taco experience.
Oh.
He's not wrong. He's 100% right.
Okay.
I'm 100%
I think anyone that eats a taco is ruining their experience. Man, I've got more, but I don't know. I feel like I should stop this before we get... All right. What future tech... One more. What future tech do you want to see to help us build our unidentifiable clown army?
Unidentifiable clown army? Isn't that a bit of a... I feel like if it's a clown army, it's going to be very identifiable as clowns.
No, you won't know. See, remember the callback. This is a callback to like one of our earlier episodes. The clowns we parachuting down, but because they're dressed like clowns, nobody knows whose clowns they are. But as technology goes along, we need to keep advancing our clown army. So this is more of a me thing, but I need you guys to help build it for me.
I don't even think that now, in today's era of clownage, that they wear like jerseys showing their clown team. I don't think that clowns have sponsors labeled on their outfits that show who owns them.
If the next clown I see at a birthday party doesn't have a sponsored covered race suit like a NASCAR driver, I'm going to be disappointed, and I'm going to teach them how to make some real money at that job.
They're going to squeeze their nose like, squeak, squeak.
Sponsored by OWC.
Anyway, Wade, I don't want to help you build your clown army, but I would say that the answer lies in one word: smaller.
Smaller clowns.
Smaller the clowns, the more you can drop at once, the more mischievous activities they can get up to. Perfection. That's all you need.
So we need a box on the plane that not even on the plane, but before they board the planes and helicopters, there's a box they go into that compresses them down into smaller clowns.
Isn't that what their cars are for?
No, this is so simplified by clown breeding. You know, I know we believe that all clowns should breed in the wild, but we should maybe selectively breed clowns to get like a toy clown.
We should get Monsanto on that. They're really good at selective breeding.
They'll just make bigger clowns, and I don't know if that's what we
make
want.
Clowns that won't die if they get bitten by beetles.
I want genetically modified clowns.
What modifications would you want?
All organic clowns. Naturally sourced. Free-range clowns. That's how I want my clowns.
Clouds are all like weird shapes and the color's really inconsistent, but they're organic. So, did we answer your question, Wade?
I mean, honestly, better than I thought you guys would. So I'll take it.
No one had a concern after the first 2 seconds of the liquid spill on my desk. I'm glad it all worked out for us.
Well, you said it didn't hit your PC, and it was like, well, then it's not our problem.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I care. I guess I'm supposed to, as your friend. I care. How are you?
I'm sticky. I'm unhappy. Sticky.
You're a parent. Aren't you always sticky now?
I wash my hands pretty frequently, but this area is free game. I get spit ups and all kinds of stuff, and things get on my phone now. But my hands, I wash because the baby sucks on them a lot. which is not what it sounds like. It's just a baby sucking on my fingers.
You need to talk about it?
It's not what you think. It's just a baby who likes to put my finger in his mouth because he's a baby. He thinks that's funny.
I mean, it is kind of funny.
It's not. It's sticky.
All right, well.
Thanks for your concern, I guess, is my summary. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. You know, just for fun. I didn't really assign any points, so I'm gonna let the wheel decide the winner. Do you guys want to do it based on points or names?
Probably names, I think.
Is the wheel an even chance?
Yeah.
Do you know what I asked? Are you unsure of what exactly I meant, or
You each have, I would say, a 49.9% chance of winning.
Is there a 0.1 Wade winner?
Yes.
Awesome.
Is this surprising to you?
No, not really. Roll the dice.
You see, there's one little Wade sliver, and then there's even numbers of Bob and Mark.
Wait, no, why? What's in the colors and the what is happening?
I don't know why the colors are like this.
Even at all. That's like 80% Mark.
Look.
What? Oh, that explains it. What?
It's just, I shuffled it.
I'm sorry, I can't read in microscopic language. What's happening?
All right. Do you want me to go through this? Do you really want me to go through this?
No. It's fair's fair, and the wheel
Look,
is...
if I shuffle it, the colors get weird. You see?
Oh, Jesus
My
Christ.
hands are tied.
What's happening?
Is it spinning?
No, I'm shuffling it. Now it's spinning.
Someone in the subreddit do an analysis of how unfair this is.
Our winner of today's episode is... Oh, go me. It's Mark! Mark!
Yeah! You showed everyone and it didn't look fair. And then I can't.
It's fair.
Oh, man.
There's a big Mark, a big Bob. There's a Mark and Bob even. Mark, Bob there. Where's the Bob and Bob, Mark there. Mark and Bob there. And then these
That's
two
fair.
there. And there's one little Wade sliver.
Man, fair is fair.
So, Bob, do you have a loser speech?
Maybe.
It's a coin flip, dude. You had a 50%.
And it definitely looks that way for sure.
Well, mine is my little sliver.
I love how fair the podcast has been lately. It's very refreshing. You know, for a long time, all three of us took turns winning.
I had my losing streak.
You never had a losing streak, you just tried to lose a lot. But you never consistently lost repeatedly.
I did. I had a pretty long one.
No, what was your longest losing streak, Wade? Of episodes?
I don't remember. I never cared.
It was like 2 or 3 episodes, maybe.
That was like 10.
That is untrue.
It probably is untrue, but it was at least 5.
I have a spreadsheet. Let's see. What color are you? Green? There is no stretch of more than 2 episodes on my spreadsheet where you are not the winner.
No, I had a losing streak for a while. We must have switched up the order of the episodes to make me look better, because I lost a lot.
This is literally a chronologically documented thing of all the episodes. It's color-coded. There's a filter. Your longest is 3 consecutive episodes where you went without winning, Wade. I just checked. The sheet is out
veto.
there. You have access to it.
As the host, I veto this information.
I accept the host's decision and embrace the fairness of it. And I thank you for just giving me the opportunity to compete. Mark, you deserve this.
Thank you.
Mark, you have a winner's speech?
I do. I regret the things I've said about sushi. And I know that this will come back to haunt me in my future more than anything combative that I've ever said in my life. I know people will hunt me down for my statement about sushi. I apologize formally, and I will recuse myself from the internet from here on out.
Oh, great. All right, well, if you guys have any complaints about sushi or about the fairness, I'm so sorry. We can't help you.
I just want to say this is 8 episodes in a row of me not winning.
Wow, is it really?
I just looked. You have a streak of 4. There were 4 episodes where the winners were me, Mark again, then you. But I have not won an episode, not hosted, but won an episode since I won Riddles and Rhymes on April 24th.
Hey, you deserved that win.
And that was the one where I was the only competitor because you two hosted together.
Didn't you almost lose?
Yeah, almost.
Somehow, yeah.
It's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. It's fair. This is fair. It feels fair.
I hope you've all enjoyed. Thank you guys for being great competitors in a very fair episode. If you haven't already, go follow Mark at Markiplier, Bob at MyScrim. I'm Wade, Lord Minion 777 or Minion 777. We'll see you all in the next one where Mark will host a very fair episode and we'll see who wins.
Gee, I wonder who's gonna win.
Until then, we have merch, store.distractablepodcast.com. Podcast out.